Torah and science, Rav Mizrahi shows something amazing. He shows something called Torah codes, which is hidden mathematical secrets in the Torah of all information that exists, past, present, and future. We just need to know what we're looking for. Now we got the Torah 3,300 years ago, approximately, a little over 3,300 years ago. But Hashem gave us information in the Chamisha Chumshei Torah, the 5 books of Moses, that is relevant until the end of time. How do we know? In the Gemara Masechet Megillah, Chazal comes to Hashem and it says, Hashem, there are 55 prophets mentioned in the Tanakh. But how many prophets were there in history? We get the answer, at least 1.2 million. Double the amount of the men between the age of 20 and 60 that left Mitzrayim, which was 600,000. Double that at least, which means 1.2 million. So why are only 55 mentioned? 48 males, 7 females. What, the other 1,000,002, their Torah was not important? Hashem gives us an answer. Their prophecy, these prophets, was only relevant to their generation. Which means that the Torah that we have, the Tanakh that we have, of course the 5 books of Moses is part of the Tanakh, but the rest of the 19 books, so total of 24 books, Hashem is clearly telling us, is relevant forever. Anything that's mentioned, every letter, every dot, every nikud, every sentence, everything is relevant for eternity. So anyone that has a crazy excuse to drive on Shabbat to Beit Knesset saying, no, Moses didn't have a car, that's why he didn't drive on Shabbat. The excuses the conservative and the reform make up for themselves to drive on Shabbat to Beit Knesset. There's no such thing. Everything that's written in the Torah is relevant to you. It's relevant to you, it's relevant to you, it's relevant to everyone. Hashem knew you're going to exist when He wrote the Torah. So in this Torah, He also gave us a prophecy, He also gave us a promise, that after we make many, many sins, He's going to send us to the 4 corners of the world. And here He says, in chapter 4 of Sefer Devarim, Deuteronomy, verse 27, Hashem will scatter you amongst the people, and you will be left few in number among the nations where Hashem will lead you. There you will serve gods, the handiwork of man, of wood and stone, which do not see, and do not hear, and do not eat, and do not smell. So He's telling us that not only are we sinners, and because we're sinners He's going to scatter us amongst the whole world, but we're going to become worse even. After He scatters us, instead of doing tshuva like a normal person, we get worse. What do? We start doing idol worship. But specific type of idol worship. Man-made idol worship is not just, it's already existed since the time of Abraham. But He's mentioning a specific type of idol worship. The God of wood and of stone. Wood should sound familiar to everyone. The cross is wood. Every Christian, Catholic, they always have these crosses. That's their sign. False god of wood. After that, the god of stone. What false religion is the god of stone? Mecca, Islam. Why? You go to Mecca, there Jerusalem is Mecca. What's in Mecca? It's a big, giant, square stone they all worship. They'll pray to it in that direction. So this is nice. It's literal Torah. But maybe he's talking about a different wood. Well, just because it's similar to the cross, just because it's similar to the Mecca, doesn't necessarily mean it's that. That's his translation. Why would you believe it? Because Ishtabach Shemo La'al, Hashem is very perfect. using Torah codes, which in essence means they're using mathematical equations to have skips between letters to find words hidden within the words within the paragraph. But it has to be an equal mathematical skip. So for example, if you want to find the word, let's say house, and I'll just do it in English just for argument's sake, but you want to find the word house anytime it appears in the Torah, other than the literal, then it would look for the H, and then the O, and then the U, and then the S, and then the E, but each one, the space between the H and the O, and the O, and the U, and the U, and the S, and the S, and the E, has to be equal. Meaning if the space between H and O is 50 letters, then O and U also has to be 50 letters. It can't be 50 and then 37 and then 12, because that's just random. It has to be an equal mathematical skip between each of the letters, because then you can clearly see it's by design. It's not just a random number. But not only that, when you find some of the most extraordinary codes, not only do you find an equal mathematical skip that's usually very small, 50 letters or less, but the verse and the paragraph that you find that word also has to do, it's also talking about the subject you're looking at. So for example, the Shoah, the Holocaust, the horrible Holocaust, you'll find every single word relevant to the Holocaust, whether it's Yimach Shemo V'Zichro Hitler, or his helpers, his generals, or the gas chambers, all of the disasters that happened, all of the words related to that, it's in Parashah that talks about the punishment Am Yisrael is going to have when they go against Hashem. Specifically Parashat Ki Tavo, one of the most difficult parashot in the entire Torah. Am Yisrael doesn't have a free choice to do whatever they want. They have choice. Meaning that if you do what Hashem says, you get reward, endless reward. If you don't do, there's punishment. It's not just nothing. So, now we have in this verse, we have a Torah code. First word of this verse in Hebrew is ve'efitz, which means Hashem will scatter. Ve'efitz, you find the letter Hey. Second letter of that word is Hey. You skip 50 letters, you get to the word Etchem. Letter Chaf. Skip 50 letters, you get to the word Yishmeun. Letter Mem. What does it spell? Mecca. As we said, it's Islam. Again, in the same sentence that talks about the God of wood and the God of stone, we found who the stone is. Interesting. Right after that, same word, ve'efitz, also has a yud. 50 letters, you go to the word Shama. Shama. Get the Shin. Another 50 letters, you get to the same word as in the Mecca, you find the Vav. In Ishmeun, which is Yimach Shemo V'Zichro, JC. You find his full name inside the very same verse that says who the God, the false God of stone, of wood and stone is. It's the only place in the entire Torah that you find it, and it's in the very verse that describes them literally.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.